My cousin publicly read my diary during a family BBQ, and everyone laughed. I stood in the backyard, the summer air thick with the smell of charcoal and sunscreen, my family's annual BBQ in full swing. Uncle Ray was flipping burgers. Kids were chasing each other with water guns, and my cousin Tara, with her smug grin, was holding court near the cooler. I was 27, single, and had driven 3 hours from my apartment in Raleigh to this sprawling suburban house in Charlotte, North Carolina, for what was supposed to be a low-key family reunion. My diary, small, leather-bound, locked with a flimsy clasp, was tucked safely in my backpack upstairs, or so I thought. It started when Tara, 24 and perpetually bored, waved everyone over to the picnic table. "Y'all gotta hear this," she called, her voice cutting through the chatter. I was grabbing a soda from the cooler, half listening. When I saw it, my diary in her hands, pages open, her eyes glinting with mischief, my stomach dropped. I'd left my backpack in the guest room, but Tara had a habit of snooping, always had, ever since we were kids. She'd once stolen my Halloween candy and blamed it on her dog. Now, she'd leveled up. "Listen to this," Tara said, her voice loud enough to draw aunts, uncles, and even the neighbors. March 12th, I'm so tired of pretending I'm okay. I cried in the bathroom at work today. I think I'm in love with Kevin. He's so... The crowd erupted in laughter. My face burned. Kevin was my coworker, a quiet guy with a lopsided smile who I'd been crushing on for months. I'd poured my heart into those pages, every doubt, every fantasy, every raw moment of vulnerability, and now it was a punchline. I lunged for the diary, but Tara danced back, holding it high. "Oh, come on, it's funny," she said, flipping to another page. April 3rd, I bombed the presentation at work. I'm such a fraud. Why does everyone else have it together? More laughter. My mom, wiping tears from her eyes, tried to wave it off. "Oh, honey, it's just a joke." But it wasn't. Not to me. I finally snatched the diary back, my hands shaking, and stormed inside. The laughter followed me, echoing in my ears. Those words were private, sacred. They were me, unfiltered, messy, real. And now they were a spectacle. I could still hear Tara outside, milking the moment, her voice carrying over the music. She's so dramatic, right? I sat on the cold tile floor of the guest bathroom, clutching the diary to my chest, my breath ragged. Those words were private. They were me, unfiltered, messy, real. And now they were a spectacle. I could still hear Tara outside, milking the moment, her voice carrying over the music. She's so dramatic, right? As the BBQ wound down, I stayed upstairs, avoiding the pitying glances from my aunts and the awkward apologies from my dad. Tara didn't mean anything by it, he said through the door. But I wasn't so sure. I opened the diary, rereading the pages she'd exposed. The shame was overwhelming. But so was something else. Anger. Why did Tara think she could humiliate me like that? What gave her the right? I heard car doors slamming outside as guests left. The house grew quieter. But my mind didn't. I needed to know why she did it. I needed to know if this was just Tara being Tara or something deeper. I tucked the diary into my waistband, covered by my shirt, and made a decision. I wasn't going to let this slide. The next morning, I woke up on the guest bed, my diary still tucked under my pillow like a talisman. The house was quiet. The remnants of the BBQ empty cans, crumpled napkins, still scattered across the backyard. I could hear my aunt humming in the kitchen downstairs, but Tara's car was gone. She'd left early, probably to avoid me. My chest felt heavy, like someone had parked a truck on it. The laughter from yesterday kept replaying in my head, each chuckle a fresh cut. I wasn't just embarrassed, I was exposed, raw, like a nerve left open to the air. I avoided the family at breakfast, grabbing a coffee and slipping out to the porch. My phone buzzed with texts from cousins, half-hearted apologies mixed with "you okay?" messages that felt more curious than concerned. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat there, staring at the neighbor's oak tree, trying to piece together what this meant for me. At work. Would people find out? Kevin wasn't at the BBQ, but gossip travels fast in families. And my mom was notorious for oversharing. The thought of him hearing about my crush secondhand made my stomach churn. Worse, I kept imagining Tara's voice, so smug, reading my insecurities aloud. It wasn't just a violation, it was theft. She'd stolen my thoughts and turned them into her entertainment. Socially, I felt radioactive. My family had always seen me as the sensitive one, the girl who took things too seriously. Now, I was the drama queen who couldn't handle a joke. I overheard my uncle at dinner last night, muttering to my dad, "She needs to toughen up." Toughen up? They didn't get it. This wasn't about a prank gone wrong. It was about trust. Tara had crossed a line, and the fact that everyone laughed made it clear where I stood. I wasn't one of them. Not really. I was the outsider, the one whose feelings were up for grabs. Psychologically, I was a mess. I'd always use my diary to untangle my thoughts. Work stress, self-doubt, the ache of being single in a family full of couples. Writing was my safe space, the one place I could be honest. Now, that felt tainted. Could I even write in it anymore, knowing someone might pry it open? I kept picturing Tara's fingers on the pages, her smirk as she read. It made me want to burn the damn thing. But that would mean letting her win, and I wasn't ready to do that. I spent the day wrestling with my options. Confronting Tara directly seemed pointless. She'd just laugh it off or play the victim. Going to my parents was useless. They'd already brushed it off as no big deal. I thought about leaving, driving back to Raleigh and pretending the BBQ never happened. But that felt like running, and I was tired of feeling small. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I needed answers. Why had Tara targeted me? Was it just her usual chaos, or was there something specific, some grudge I didn't know about? By afternoon, I was pacing the guest room, my anger hardening into resolve. I couldn't let this fester. I needed to understand Tara's motives, and I needed to reclaim some control. I started small. I checked my backpack, looking for clues. The zipper was fine, but the side pocket where I'd kept my phone charger was slightly open. Had she rifled through everything? I thought back to yesterday, trying to remember when I'd left my bag unattended. I'd been outside most of the day, helping with the food setup, plenty of time for her to sneak upstairs. I sat on the bed, my hands clenched. This wasn't just about the diary anymore. It was about me, my boundaries, my voice. Tara had taken something from me, and I wasn't going to let it slide. I didn't know how yet, but I was going to find out what was behind this. And when I did, I'd make sure she knew I wasn't the punchline. By evening, I knew I couldn't just sit there stewing. I needed to move, to dig, to find out what drove Tara to humiliate me. The guest room felt like a cage, so I grabbed my keys and headed to my car. Tara lived about 20 minutes away, in a cramped apartment she shared with a rotating cast of roommates. I didn't have a plan, but I figured starting at her place might turn up something, maybe a clue about her mindset or, if I was lucky, proof she'd been plotting this. Driving through Charlotte's suburbs, I kept the radio off, letting my thoughts churn. Tara had always been the loud one, the center of attention, but I'd never seen her go this far. Was she jealous, bored, or was there some old wound I'd forgotten about? I pulled up to her apartment complex, a squat brick building with flickering porch lights. Her car wasn't in the lot, but I parked anyway, my heart thudding. I wasn't breaking in. That's not me, but I figured I could talk to her roommates, see if they'd noticed anything off. I knocked on her door, and after a minute, a guy in a faded band tee answered, looking half asleep. "Tara's not here," he said before I even asked. I introduced myself as her cousin, keeping it casual, and asked if I could grab something I'd left last time I visited. He shrugged, letting me in. The place was a mess, pizza boxes on the counter, laundry piled on the couch. I scanned the living room while he scrolled on his phone, pretending to look for my lost scarf. That's when I saw it, a notebook on the coffee table, not mine, but similar, cheap, spiral-bound, with Tara's messy handwriting on the cover. I asked her roommate if I could use the bathroom, and he pointed down the hall. On my way. I passed Tara's room, door slightly ajar. My pulse spiked. I slipped inside, keeping my steps light. The room was chaos, clothes everywhere, empty energy drink cans, a laptop open on her bed. I didn't touch anything, but my eyes landed on a stack of papers on her desk. One was a printed email, the subject line catching my attention: family stuff. I only skimmed it, something about setting things straight, and she'll learn. It was vague, but it felt like a lead. I snapped a quick photo with my phone, my hands shaky, and got out before her roommate noticed. Back in my car, I pulled up the photo. The email was from Tara to someone named Jess, sent a week before the BBQ. It mentioned finally getting even and making sure everyone sees her for who she is. My stomach twisted. This wasn't random. Tara had planned it. And Jess, whoever she was in on it. I tried to recall if I knew a Jess, maybe one of Tara's friends from college. Nothing clicked. I needed more context, so I texted my cousin Marcus, the only family member I trusted not to blab. I kept it vague. "Hey, does Tara hang out with anyone named Jess?" He replied almost instantly. "Yeah, Jess is her best friend. Why?" I didn't answer. Instead, I drove back to my aunt's house, my mind racing. Marcus's text confirmed Jess was real, but I needed to know what getting even meant. Had I done something to Tara? I racked my brain, but nothing stood out. No fights, no betrayals. The next step was riskier, talking to Tara's friends. I found Jess's Instagram through Tara's followers list, public, thankfully, and saw she worked at a coffee shop downtown. Tomorrow, I'd go there, play it cool, and see if I could get her to talk. It wasn't much, but it was a start. For the first time since the BBQ, I felt like I was doing something, not just drowning in shame. Tara had started this, but I was going to finish it. The next morning, I drove to the coffee shop downtown, my nerves jangling like loose change. The place was busy, all exposed brick and overpriced lattes, with Jess behind the counter, her blonde ponytail swinging as she worked the espresso machine. I recognized her from Instagram. Same sharp cheekbones, same easy smile. I ordered a black coffee, keeping my voice steady, and waited for a lull. When she handed me my cup, I leaned in, casual as I could manage. "Hey, you're Tara's friend, right? I'm her cousin." Her smile faltered, just for a second, before she nodded. That flicker told me she knew something. I sat at a corner table, sipping my coffee, watching her. After about 20 minutes, she took a break and came over, wiping her hands on her apron. "So, you're the diary girl," she said. No preamble. Her tone halfway between pity and amusement. My jaw tightened, but I played it cool. "Yeah, that's me. Tara got a real kick out of it." Jess shrugged, like it was no big deal. "She's just like that, always stirring stuff up." But her eyes didn't meet mine. And I pressed, "Sure, but why me? Did I do something to her?" Jess hesitated, then said, "Look, it's not my place. You should talk to Tara." I wasn't letting her off that easy. I mentioned the email, not saying I'd seen it, just fishing. Tara said something about getting even with me. Any idea what that's about? Jess's face froze, her fingers twisting the edge of her apron. "She told you that?" she said. Too quick. I nodded. Bluffing? After a long pause, she sighed. "Okay. Look, Tara's been pissed at you for years. Something about high school. How you got that scholarship she wanted. She said you bragged about it, made her feel like crap. The diary thing, she thought it'd knock you down a peg." High school? I was floored. The scholarship was a small art grant, barely enough for supplies. And I'd never bragged. Hell, I'd barely mentioned it. Tara had never even applied for it. As far as I knew. Was that really it? A decade-old grudge over a misunderstanding? I pressed Jess for more, but she clammed up, saying she'd already said too much. She left me there, my coffee cold, her words sinking in. Tara's motive wasn't just spite, it was personal, rooted in some warped version of our past. Back at my aunt's, I dug through old yearbooks, trying to piece it together. I found a photo of Tara and me at a school art show, both smiling. No hint of tension. But then I remembered something, a conversation at graduation, when Tara's mom had compared us, saying I was going places while Tara was still figuring it out. I'd brushed it off. But had Tara held on to it? Had she been carrying this resentment all these years, waiting for a chance to strike? I confronted Tara that night, driving to her apartment and catching her just as she got home. "Why'd you do it?" I demanded, standing in her parking lot, my voice shaking. She rolled her eyes, tossing her keys in her hand. "It was a joke. Chill out." But I wasn't backing down. "Jess told me. The scholarship. You think I screwed you over?" Her face hardened, and for the first time, she didn't deflect. "You always acted like you were better than me." She spat. "Perfect grades, perfect life. I wanted everyone to see you're not." I stood there, stunned. Her version of me was a caricature, nothing like the insecure mess I'd been in high school, or now. I wanted to scream, to lay into her, but something stopped me. Her anger, her bitterness, it was real, but it was also sad. She'd built this narrative where I was the villain, and the diary was her weapon. I walked away, my hands clenched, not sure what I felt, rage, pity, or both. Now, I'm back in Raleigh, staring at my diary, still unopened since the BBQ. I could expose Tara, tell the family her side, let them see her pettiness. Or I could let it go, accept that she's stuck in her own warped story, and move on. But honestly, I don't know what's right. Should I fight back? Make her feel what I felt? Or is it better to walk away, knowing she's already trapped in her own head? What would you do?